Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV. Today we're talking about finding new ways to learn. Are you ready? Let's get started. If you're serious about being an effective leader, you have to be serious about learning. It's just a fact. To be a better leader requires that we become a learner. There's at least two major reasons why, and you may not agree with both of these, but it'd be hard for me to believe that you won't agree with at least one of the two things I'm about to say. There are two reasons why learning is so important for us as a leader. Number one is for ourselves, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, being a leader is complex. It's hard. It's not something you can figure out by watching a few videos, coming to a workshop or two. It's a lifelong endeavor because you're leading people who are inherently messy, which means that it's hard. Leadership is hard. There's a lot of facets to it. There's a lot going on with it. The people that you're leading are all different, and so it's complex. So if we're serious about being an effective leader, we really need to be learning for ourselves. But even if you think, hey, Kevin, I'm smart enough, that's not my reason. I got a second reason for you, and that is highly effective leaders recognize that they are role models. And I've never talked to a leader who didn't want their team members to be learning. They didn't want their team members to be growing. They didn't want their team members to be getting better. And if I want my team members to be learning, growing, and getting better, what's the best chance I've got that they'll do that? Well, by role modeling it, right? Like if I want my daughter to be a reader, I got two options. One is I can tell her to read, or the other thing is I could turn off the TV and pick up a book while she's watching me. Which one has a better chance of success? Turning off the TV, right? So as a role model. So here's my point. My point is, again, as a leader, if you're serious about being an effective leader, you got to be a learner, and you got to be a continual learner doing it all the time. And you're saying, but wait a minute, Kevin, now I agree with you, but have you looked at my calendar lately? Well, I'll compare calendars with you any day, and I get it, and I understand that you're busy. And so you're saying, Kevin, I get this idea that I ought to be a learner, but I don't have time. How's it going to get high enough on my priority list? So let me give you two ways that you can learn that doesn't require you to do anything different with your calendar. How about that? Here they are. First one is learn from what's happening around you. Now, what's happening around you is happening. You don't have to schedule time to have it happen. It's just happening. Life is going on. Meetings are going on. Reports are going on. Conversations with team members are going on. You can learn from what's happening from you, and all you got to do is take the time while you're driving or at any other time to ask yourself, what did I learn from that? In other words, to reflect. If you will reflect from what happened to you today, if you will live the question that you ask your kids when they're little, which is, what did you learn today? If you'll model that for yourself and ask yourself that question, it doesn't take time. You find the time in the margins. You find the time on the drive home. You find the time when you're exercising. You find the time while you're in the shower. You find the time to say, what can I learn from what's already happening around me? Second thing you can do is you can learn from what you're watching, listening to, and or reading. Like you're reading stuff, you're watching TV, you're watching movies, you're watching whatever, you're listening to the radio, you're listening to podcasts, you're listening to whatever you're listening to, you're watching me. There's a chance to learn from all of that input, right? Whatever stuff you're inputting into your brain is an opportunity to learn. And it's the same thing. You don't have to necessarily add more of it, although adding more of it might be great, especially done intentionally. What you need to do is be intentional about what you do with what is going in. And if you do that, you can learn from that. So if you do those two things, I've just given you two new ways to learn. Don't take any more of your time. It just takes a little bit of a new habit to ask yourself some reflective questions in the quiet moments that you have, in the time that you're already spending doing something else that's not on your calendar, right? Do those two things. Learn from what's happening around you. Learn from what you watch, listen to, and read. And if you do those things, you'll be on your way to being a continual learner, and you'll be on your way to being a more effective, remarkable leader. Here's today's tweet. There are so many ways to learn every day. Pick one and get started. Now, before we go, I've got a new thing to add to your learning diet. I have now created the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. Yeah, and every week, in every episode, I'm interviewing and having a conversation with an expert in some walk of life. And we're talking about leadership and personal and professional development. We're doing it in a relaxed, conversational way, and we'd love to have you join us. And you can join us by watching in a video form or listening to, like you might be familiar with in a podcast. Here's how. Go to go to wherever you watch your podcasts, right? Or listen to your podcasts and type in Remarkable Leadership, and you'll find it, and you can subscribe from there. Or you can just go to remarkablepodcast.com. How about that? remarkablepodcast.com. And you can watch the latest episode and subscribe from there as well. remarkablepodcast.com.